Hi, this video is about taking cuttings on any kind of philodendron, really, any kind of vining philodendron. This is, in particular, this one is a Pink Princess. She's reverted a little bit, got a little bit of pink left on her still, a couple specks here and there, but I ultimately want to propagate her. So what do? You have it, it's already, you knocked all the dirt off of the roots and everything, and you're ready to cut. Where do I make the cuts? What do I do after that? Well, here you go. If you want to make the cuts between the nodes, everybody says this, but I'm not sure if the videos are really precise about it showing. But let me see if I can be. I like to keep one leaf on the bottom cut. This will be the bottom cut, the one with the roots. I like to keep at least one leaf on there. There are several nodes down in here, which new growth will pop out from the eye. What is the eye? I'll tell you that later. But for right now, just focus on the bottom cut. The bottom cut being the one with the roots, and I myself add one leaf. So between the nodes, this is one node. This is the next node right here with this going across. Make sure you do not cut any of the roots as you're trying to cut through the stem. Don't cut across here. Cut through the visible part of the stem, in between here and here, and just make the cut. That's it. That is my bottom cut. So after that, we're just going to go right up the stem. There's a nice little root system on it, and you're going to cut between the node 1, node 2. Cut right across it. See? It's not hard. It will test your resolve, and it will test your ability to steel yourself to make the cut. It'll definitely play with your head. Can I make this cut? Am I making the wrong cut? What am I doing? Just don't worry about it. Make the cut. So back to this one. This one's just one little wet stick. This is what we would call a wet stick. Cut across the node, the internode. Cut across the internode between the nodes. I guarantee you I will have a plant out of this in a month, maybe a month and a half. I'll have at least one leaf. So let's get to this one. Between the nodes. Cut right across. It went flying. Now remember when I told you I was going to show you where the eye was? Or what the eye is? Both. Here it is. It is underneath the sheath that usually would hold a leaf. But this one doesn't have a leaf on it, so I figured I'd take this opportunity to show you where it is. It's just, you pull the sheath off of the node, and it is this little piece right here. This little guy right, let me bring him to the camera. This little guy right here. That's the eye. The eye, it's just a name that we call it. It's technically a growth point. That's where new growth is going to come out. That's where the new shoot is going to produce leaves. The roots themselves will come directly out of that node. This is a viable wet stick, is what we call that. That will produce. So back to this one. I have another wet stick cutting. It might be approachable from this angle. It'd be better. Across in between the nodes. The internode spacing, or the node spacing on this is really compact. So it's pretty difficult to make a cut and have like an actual body afterwards. But as long as you have that node, you're fine. And as long as you didn't cut across the sheath, right down in here where the eye is, remember we just talked about the eye, don't cut across the eye, don't cut across the node, you'll be fine. These aerial roots will produce more roots and you'll have a plant soon enough. One more cut and one more cut and we'll get to the top cut. The spacing on this is a lot further than the previous one, so it's going to be a lot easier to make this cut. So remember, node 1, node 2, internode, not across here, not across there, right across. Bing, done. Now, this is the top cut. I consider my top cuts, what I put in my store, are going to have at least 2 leaves and 1 producing. And the reason for that is because the first leaf closest to the bottom cut is going to probably have these aerial roots already done. The aerial roots are a great start for your plant. They will immediately begin drawing in nutrients and water to serve this individual plant. If there are no aerial roots, it takes a longer time for it to root. So when I take a cut, I make sure it's like this, so it just roots faster and turns into another plant easier. It's just easier all around. Once that happens, this node right here will mature. This second node right here will mature, and it will start pushing out its own aerial roots, at which time you can take this as a cutting. So this becomes another cutting separate completely from its own top cut. If that was a little confusing, if I moved a little too fast, hit me up in the comments and I will do a better job of explaining. But that's essentially it. I will have a part 2. I don't have anything set up right now to pot these up, but I'll have a part 2 set up, so just stay tuned for that. If you like what you saw, hit the like button or subscribe, and thanks for hanging out.